Hey everybody, welcome here. We're a couple minutes away from getting going, but figured I would at least jump in here and see how everybody's doing. I actually need to rearrange my screens here for a second, so I'm going to stop sharing and just hang tight. But hey, in the meantime, how about this? Do people want to let me know where you're from? And then I'm really curious because of our topic today. Are you doing retail or insurance? And if so, kind of what's the split? Like how much retail versus how much insurance work are you doing right now? I know that's always a big question for us as roofing contractors, sort of on the balance there, as that can be a tough mix sometimes depending on storms. 50-50 in Buffalo, New York. Rob, is that mostly wind work then? Do you guys get much hail there? Active in Indiana, hail there for sure. Yeah, I get that one. First year in business, 90% insurance. Awesome. Yeah, insurance is great. It is a massive opportunity for those that aren't doing it. 95% insurance, 5% retail. Nice. Okay, 50-50 in Tennessee there. Tennessee's been getting a lot of damage, I think, here recently. 5 million on hail. So there was hail in Buffalo. Yeah, okay, in 2020. I know in, what was it? I think it was 2015 around Buffalo and stuff there was crazy winds, like in April and then in May again and stuff. 60-40, 85% insurance. Awesome. South Alabama. Want more insurance work? Great. Absolutely. Lots in Pennsylvania. Decent wind. Yeah, Rob, sorry, I see the comment there as well. Yet again, I remember because those winds in, and Rob, do you remember, was it 2015 that it was those crazy windstorms in your area there? Because we do our roofing, what year was it? Do you remember? 2017? Okay. It might have been a little bit later. It might have been 2017 sort of thing. But yeah, basically because we're one of the largest residential roofing contractors in Canada here, and we're the largest regarding insurance work. The insurance companies know us then, and the insurance companies were asking us, because Buffalo is just south of Toronto and there's just a massive population around there. They were trying to get our company to go out there and sort of act as IAs for them, or a bit of field adjusters, where we do some tarping and then we provide an Xactimate report for them and stuff like that. So awesome. Well, yes, go Sabres. Always good to have some hockey fans in the crowd as well. Well, let's get going here. I appreciate it. Like, we've got this conversation today. We want to be talking really about insurance and SumoQuote. SumoQuote was built out of our residential roofing exteriors company where I was the sales director. Historically, we've typically been doing about 50-50, about 50% retail, 50% insurance. But the last couple of years, we were much higher. We were probably up to 70% insurance. And so we really built SumoQuote thinking about it as a blended retail and insurance tool. That's how it was built. And I'll point out a couple of the features today for you on where we were looking to be able to craft that insurance side of it in there, so that as you're looking to scale on the insurance side, you can see how SumoQuote can work for that. But then I'll just give you a lot of the examples from our roofing company. We were fortunate in 2020. We had we're in the main hail city in Canada, really. Now our hail season is shorter than it would be down in the US there, and whether it's hail or wind. But we certainly know insurance and insurance sales, and that's what I cut my teeth on right from when I started in roofing sales back in 2011. So you know, we really know this side of things. But in 2020, we had a massive storm. In 2021, we had another great storm. And in 2021, we had two of our salespeople. I know it says how a salesperson, but there was actually two of our salespeople, each sold over $8 million, mainly insurance work, no multifamily. This was all residential work. The largest job was maybe $70,000. So there was no $2 million, condo in there, kind of padding the stats some. So what I want you to do, or what I want to do with you today, is kind of take you through the structure that we used as a business in order to scale as a business. And this will be, I'm going to say, 70% just talking about our business and how we structured the business and how we think about insurance and how we think about sales, and maybe 30% where we'll dive into SumoQuote and kind of walk you through some of the ways that you can use it and some of the elements where it's been built specifically for insurance work. So now, before I do that, I'm going to share a quick picture here, and you're going to see me. I'm going to bounce in and out of my browser to be able to show you some different things as we're going. But over on my side screen here, I'm just going to minimize this. If you do a Google image search on Calgary hail, Calgary, the town I'm from, let's be transparent about this storm, shall we? This was not a small storm, right? As you look at this stuff, this was a crazy storm that hit our city. Our city is about 1 million, 3 million, 4. In the chat, has anybody seen hail this size before? I had only seen it hit rural areas. I had never seen it hit a city like ours. And so in 2020, when it hit, there was a pile of work. Andrew's seen it. Awesome. Yeah, it's rare, isn't it? And especially for it to hit the city and stuff like that. So anyways, Rob's had it, small pocket there. So I don't want to come in here and just kind of pretend oh yeah, $8 million, it's super easy, anybody should be able to do it. Okay. I like the quote, luck, or what is it? Luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. We were prepared. So the opportunity presented itself. And so we felt very lucky at the end of the day, but we were very, very prepared in our structure. And we had done a lot of insurance work like this before. So what I want to do is let's walk through the structure, and I'll show you sort of a few things as we go. Myself, CEO of SumoQuote, I'm also a partner at Epic. I was the sales director there for a whole pile of years. And I was in the sales department before that. So roofing sales, and I did about 1.5 years actually shingling myself. So, I've been a laborer, I've shingled, I've run a crew, I've sold, and then I've run the department, and I'm an owner as well, sort of thing. So, and again, I know I said it before in my talk this morning, we are in a fantastic industry. The residential roofing industry is excellent. So we are all very fortunate to be in such a good industry like this at this time. Okay, this is how we think about it as a business when we're thinking about how do you scale to be able to hit some of these numbers. Okay, so there's different components of what's going on that you can scale. You can scale your leads, you can scale your sales, you can scale your documentation. Okay, so really it's actually, if you kind of go backwards, you're going to get the lead, then you're going to do the documentation, and then you're going to do the sales. So now all of this as a business, we've been firmly committed that it has to be rooted in an incredible customer experience. And that's why we created SumoQuote as well, right? As we wanted a tool to help sort of automate or make it easier for us to show the homeowner what a great customer experience could be like. So basically, over the next 25 minutes or so here still, I'm going to talk about leads, and I'm going to talk about the different levers that you can pull in how you can sort of grow or scale your leads. I'm going to talk about documentation and how we approach documentation in a different way, I think, than a lot of companies out there, and then sales. And we'll sort of go through and touch on a bunch of those, and I'll show you a few things along the way. So why customer experience? I don't want to spend too much time on this, but really, if you invest in customer experience, the payback is exponential. This was 3 years ago, I believe, but they did an interview of Fortune 100 executives, so the biggest companies out there, corporations out there in the world sort of thing. And they said, what is your priority in business for the next 5 years? And these were the top 3 answers that they got back. So pricing, number 3. And let's be honest, none of us love to compete on price. That's just a race to the bottom, doesn't create a sustainable business for us with healthy margins. So pricing, not interested in competing there. Product, I don't know. We certainly don't have as a business, a leg up in the market where we've got product that nobody else has access to. We need to compete with other people that are selling Owens Corning shingle, which is the main shingle brand that we do. And so we can talk about duration and all of its advantages, and we can talk about flex and why we like it as a class 4 or whatever it is. But all of our competitors can do that as well. So we don't like to compete on the product side. Where we like to compete is customer experience. How can we create this crafted experience for a homeowner that is noticeably different than everybody else around us? So we invest heavily and care deeply on the customer experience side of things. So anyways, I just wanted to make sure we were all on the same page there for why customer experience is so important as a part of all of this. All right, leads. Leads was the first thing that we were looking at for how do we scale. And we certainly, when we started, we would have started at the top of this. And over the last 22 years that we've been in business as a roofing company, we would have been working our way down this list. So it starts with door knocking, it starts with customer referrals. And let's be honest, a lot of the reason we start in this place as a business is purely from a cash perspective, right? When we're getting going, we don't have tons of excess cash sitting around. And so we do the thing that's leveraging our time which is we have, even though it's a very scarce resource, but we don't want to just burn through cash and put ourselves potentially out of business. So the first thing we do, it's door knocking, it's customer referrals. I know as a business, we actually started as a subcontractor to other companies out there. And then eventually, once we got sort of enough kind of cash on the balance sheet and stuff, we started working our way up to being the primary, and then working our way up to taking on insurance jobs as a whole and not just the roofing portion of them. Okay, so when you're getting leads, you're likely going to go direct. Then you're going to get into digital. You're going to work on your SEO for your website, your pay-per-click marketing. There's Google Guaranteed right now, which the ROI on Google Guaranteed for a lot of us can be better than if you're just going the straight pay-per-click route on Google Ads and stuff like that. And then email marketing. Email marketing can be incredibly effective and efficient, but once you've sort of built up that clientele list and you're always sort of staying front of mind with them and giving them good value as you go, right? So leads, you go through these, then eventually you start trying to connect with insurance brokers, insurance adjusters, property managers, insurance companies. All of these are great. It takes more time and energy, but once you've got the relationship built, they can pay off for years and years and years. I'll give one story. This was early on in my career selling. And I really, when I started selling, I was straight into insurance. We had just had a big storm. So I was running with adjusters and being on the roof with them, where I was doing ladder assist for them and stuff like that, because we already as a business had some relationship there. But I remember running with one adjuster. And I'm going to tell you this story just because it amuses me. And I wish all adjusters could be like this for you out there. But I started with running with an adjuster. Her name was Celeste. And I remember one day in particular that we went out. She called me up. She said, "Hey, Ryan, I've got 5 roofs that I need to inspect and I need a ladder assist. Can you come along and meet me at these properties and we'll go do these inspections? And then obviously if I'm approving anything, you're right there and you've sort of got a leg up in getting some relationship with the homeowner." Absolutely, right? I'd run with Celeste before. She was great to work with, no problem. We did 5 properties, I said that day. 2 of them were too steep that Celeste didn't feel comfortable getting on them. And ironically, those were the only 2 that got denied that day. Celeste was great because she approved everything. She always wanted to approve damage. And I remember being on one roof with her and we were up on the roof and she said, "Hey, do you see any damage?" I said, "Nope, can't see anything. Shingles all look perfect." She said, "Yeah, I know, but the neighbors got approved for a roof, so let's keep looking. I know this homeowner is really hoping or expecting to get approved." So we keep looking, another 4 or 5 minutes goes by. She's like, any damage? I'm like, some light dimpling on the fascia, maybe on the top of the eaves on the west side, you could find some, but really like almost basically nothing. Like I'm hunting hard for it. She's like, I know it's the same that I see, like it. And I just said, hey, look, I'll be the bad guy. Like if you need to tell the homeowner there's no damage, and I need to be the one that's like, man, I'm a roofing contractor, there's no damage, your shingles are fine, I can do that. She said, no, just keep looking. And after another couple minutes, she said, screw it. I'm just going to give him a new roof. And then she made this comment, I am going to be single-handedly responsible for bankrupting my insurance company. And she just shook her head, and she was awesome. I don't know if any of you, throw it in the chat here, if any of you have had any really positive. I know how many negative engagements or interactions there are with adjusters out there, but I'd love to hear that there's been some positive ones in the chat. And hopefully the chat isn't just crickets on this, but because I know there are some good adjusters in Canada. I also know that when we have big storms here and we have IAs coming up after a cat from Texas especially and stuff like that, they are incredibly difficult to work with up here compared to our local adjusters. So I think we've got a bit of a different group that we're working with in Canada here as well. So yeah, Steve, glad there's been some good adjusters that you've connected with. And Rob, doesn't surprise me, Indiana being rough, like in areas where I think there's, again, to my reference to Texas, I think where they see so much, I think they just start getting more defensive and there's more coaching of those adjusters in those areas to try and deny. But in areas like Buffalo where there might not be quite as much, they might be more reasonable. They're just not as jaded with it and stuff like that. So Justin, I love the comment that you're building relationship there as well, right? So as you are thinking about leads, that is a very scalable way. When a storm hits, you've got somebody on your team, or hopefully multiple people, adjusters on your team that you can run with, that you can now, all of the leads going to them are warm leads for you. And so this is a way that we've been able to scale leads as a business in the intentionality of having very positive insurance relationships out there. Now, the nice thing here, and I just touched on that, is the goal with this stuff is finding processes that can be repeatable and scalable. So when you get a lead, that you can repeat getting more leads like that, and that it's scalable, right? Doing Google pay-per-click and paying $5,000 a lead, it's repeatable, it is not scalable. So just wanting to point that out, sort of thing. Now, one thing I was going to show you here is we're at this lead stage. So this could be where we're at the door and we're going through and connecting with a homeowner. I just want to be able to show you quickly, for those of you using contingency agreements, SumoQuote, it's actually the fastest thing that you can build in SumoQuote. Like really, you've got your project, you put the client's house on the cover, and then typically the rest of these, it's automatically going to fill in the homeowner's name. And there's going to be some standard text that is just included every single time, right? So if I'm reading this here, on this paragraph, it's saying, as a professional residential roofing company and one that handles thousands of insurance claims, we are going to assist you with, and we clearly articulate to them how we are going to help them, right? So we're able to sort of give them some of that visual in there. We also then have a marketing page, and Jane just ran a great session on how you can build great marketing pages in Canva and then get them in here. And we've already built a pile of these for you. But here, we're showing that we're professional. Maybe with a page like this, we're actually explaining to the homeowner what we're going to be inspecting. Hey, adjusters, they're typically just looking for damage on the roof. We're going to make sure that you get like for like in all of the products in your roof. So if you've got a premium underlayment, we're going to make sure we work with your adjuster to get a premium underlayment included, right? If you've got ridge venting, we're going to get that. Yeah, just this is a great one for talking to homeowners and helping explain the process to them again. Likewise, this is one that we created that we've got available for people to be able to sort of copy or use or adjust to your workflow as well. But homeowners, there's always confusion on what is the insurance process. Usually it's the first time they've filed, but giving them something to refer back to gives them confidence and trust and calms them down so that they know if you put in this is where it goes to the insurance company, and this often takes 2 to 4 weeks to get an approved Xactimate report back for them. It calms them down and it helps keep trust with you so that you don't lose that along the way somehow. Obviously, in the contingency agreement, being able to throw photos of damages in there to show that you're the expert and communicate well to them. And if nobody else is doing this, you look brilliant. In something like this for the contingency, you can just put some text in here that says, we will complete repairs on your property as laid out in your insurance estimate, and your authorization will apply should the total value change as directed by your adjuster. Supplements, right? And we've got a $0 value on this today because we are not charging you anything for this today, right? You're signing a contingency agreement. It's just saying if we put in all of the work and we invest our time and resources into helping get this approved for you, and then in making sure that it's like for like and you're looked after with this stuff, we just want to know that we can get paid for doing what we love, which is replacing your roof, repairing your siding, doing all the stuff we need to do. So this is a nice way. And again, there's zero customization to this in a contingency agreement. So far, we've put the customer's house on the cover. That's it. Authorization page, you see over here, we can put in the claim number, policy number, date of loss, rather than the shingle color, siding color, metal color, whatever it is. And then we can be talking about our warranty. This whole thing is a sales sheet that they can sign for a contingency agreement for you. So just an idea that, hey, you can use SumoQuote. This takes 30 seconds to build for the homeowner, but you've got something incredibly professional that shows how different you are than all the other contractors out there that are trying to get homeowner to engage and work with them on something like this as well. So contingency agreements, 100% available in SumoQuote. That is there for you. All right, we've gone through that the concept of how to scale leads. Okay, scaling documentation. This is what we do as a company. And again, please feel free to copy this if this would work for you. All right. What we do is we've got in-house metal crews, and our metal crews would be in-house crews doing gutters, downs, fascia, soffit, just any of the standard soft metals on the house. We'll train them at the beginning of the year in how to document damages on a property, because after a storm hits, that is the very last crew to get busy. And so in the beginning, in the early days, and I'll want to say in the early month or month and a half, when everything's going crazy, they actually aren't busy at all. And they've got the time. And so when we get all of our leads coming into our office, we'll have an admin person put together a pre-built route. So they'll say, here's a map, here's 10 properties all on the same street or 2 streets or whatever else that we've gotten leads from, okay? We've got a company brochure. I'll walk you through that brochure in a second here so you can see exactly what we're dropping off at the door with the homeowner at this stage. Now, we take our metal installer and we train them as a scoper or as an inspector. And so they've got this route. They'll go to a property. They'll have their clean golf shirt on and everything, and they'll do an introduction at the door. Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Homeowner. Thanks so much for reaching out to Epic Roofing. I am here today to document damages on your property. The next thing after this is you're going to expect to hear from one of our project managers, in order to help guide you through the rest of your project. But I am here just to document all the damages to make sure that we help keep the insurance company honest, and that whatever they return to you, that we've got documentation to ensure we can show everything that should be included on that. And then they go around, they do their photos, they do their scope of work listing all of the damages, measurements, they'll measure siding, or we're typically will order an eagle view so that we've got that already. Photos, we are very, very specific on how it's done. Okay, so photo of the front of the house, photo of all angles of walls from the ground. While they're going around there, they're documenting damages on walls as well. When they go up the ladder, at the top of the ladder, there's always 4 photos that they take. Okay, so it's pitch, is there drip edge, do they, metal swatch colors, so matching metals in case there's metal damage. So putting a swatch on the gutter to make sure we've got the correct color. And then they'll put their tape measure on the soffit. So we've got the soffit measurement as well. And then they'll go up to the peak of the roof. They'll do overviews, and then they'll start getting into their specifics and into the damages and stuff. And because every person in our company does it exactly the same way every time, it doesn't matter if I've been to a job or not, because it's essentially, I'm looking through the exact same lens as if I had been there. And because it's been done that way, later on, even if I'm talking to the homeowner and I'm the one, or not the person that's been there, I can speak to them as if I've walked every inch of their roof. So having that consistency in that process is incredibly important, and being able to shift. And it's not that you have to use a metal crew. We've hired university students for this as well. And, if we get them in year 1 or 2 of their university, they can come baback to us for, years 3 and 4, and we get them for a bunch of years where they just scope for us all summer and they go through that. So now the thing I want to touch on here, company brochure. Okay. Again, I'm going to bounce over to my browser here because I've got the full booklet right here. This is a, sort of a 6 by 8 inch sort of type brochure, stapled on the spine that you can fold over and open sort of thing. Here's our cover page. But as we're going through this, we want to reinforce to the homeowner that we're professional, right? We've got a welcome letter from our CEO. We want to, in case they've got other people knocking on their door, we want to give them confidence at this point that we are different. And so we created this page called How to Compare Contractors, where we talk about our business compared to the typical contractor out there. And we try and highlight the things that give us a leg up or make us appear different. It's not that a company that's been in business for 2 years couldn't do excellent work. It's not to say that at all, but we want to create differentiation in there. And so this is one of the ways that we do that. We also do it through all of our qualifications and how we're a preferred contractor in all these different ways. We talk about being preferred. We talk about having a service division. We talk about the shingle and why it's great and why we believe in it. We start prompting them for upgrades. So with this, as they're going through this, we want them to start thinking about the advantages, because we're going to come and try and sell them upgrades at the end of it. So we want to give a little bit of documentation on that. That's also where we talk about ice and water shield. And in Canada, you don't have to have an underlayment. We always install an underlayment. But if they didn't previously have underlayment on their roof, the insurance company isn't going to pay for it. So then it's an upsell for us. But either way, we're going to make sure underlayment's included with them. Same as drip edge. It's not a requirement in Canada in our area here, but we basically install it on every single job just because it's best practice. Valley metal, same thing. This is also something nice for them to refer to so that they can be picking colors from this. But we're trying to anticipate both our position of who we are as a business, of trying to sort of plant seeds for upgrades, and also they're going to have to pick colors. So giving them something that they like, they're going to hold on to this. Our homeowners often put this on the refrigerator or throw it in the junk drawer right beside their phone sort of thing or whatever it is. But we want this to be something that they're holding on to so that they know they can always reach out to us. Hopefully this is helpful. Something like this has been really nice and strategic for us. Looks very, very professional, but this is what our scopers are dropping off at the door. So if nobody's home, it drops it off and it's got a little letter in it saying we were here. And if they aren't home, if they are home, then we'll just hand it to them and it's something they hold on to. Okay, bouncing back again to the presentation here. All right. Sales. We've gone out there, we've documented the property, we've gotten an eagle view, we've gotten our siding measurements as well as a siding swatch on the building. So our scopers will have siding swatches so that they can match it. They'll typically they'll peel back the siding, snip off on the overlap so that we can match the profile and everything as well. We don't ever want to do second, third, fourth visits because we missed information. So we train really, really hard to make sure we're getting everything we possibly need at that point. Now we've got all of this information. When we are busy in the summers, we hire business students from the local university. We train them in Xactimate and SumoQuote, We watch them really closely to get going. But once they're proficient, they are amazing. And they'll put the estimate together. They'll put the Xactimate together. They'll put the SumoQuote contract together with all the upgrades and everything. They'll gather sub trade bids, right? Like whether it's King or garage doors or whatever it is. They'll gather everything for it. And then finally, it gets handed off to the sales consultant. So the sales consultant, they can do all of this stuff. And when it's not busy in the summers, they do all of this stuff all the time. They are the experts at the end of the day. But the thing that we can't, that isn't scalable, is the adjuster meetings, the homeowner meetings, getting signed contract, closing the deal, selling the upgrades. And so basically what you've seen from this structure here is we're trying to get those sales consultants into that part of the role that it isn't easy to train anybody else on. You need a depth of knowledge and understanding and training to really excel at that. And so when I say this sales consultant or these two sales consultants each sold over $8 million, they did it with a mini team, right? But it was a mini team that was incredibly affordable, right? Business students or our gutter installers. And it was incredibly scalable because we could just bring them on for a season and then they just pivot right back to where they were again. And so we've got this really fantastic structure set up where in the summer, we can double, triple the size of the number of people working on the sales side for us. And then in the fall, winter, spring, it dials right back down to our main 6-7 sales consultants. And it's incredible because we can push $30 million worth of sales through 7 sales consultants. And we do it very, very efficiently. And if there's a year or two that we don't have storms in a row, well, our lever is we don't shift the gutter installers over, we don't hire business students, right? And we can run it all through these sales consultants. But these sales consultants, we've had, they don't quit on us. We have had them for years and years because of the consistency and the support and just the structure that they've got with this stuff. Sorry, I'm just glancing over here. Melissa, what's your typical timeline from first visit to signed contract? Melissa, it's a great question. So how we do it as a business is we want signed contract to be after we have an approved insurance report. So now we might go back for supplements afterwards. Depends on how big we're anticipating those will be. But it largely depends on whether the homeowner has an Xactimate report or an approved insurance claim from their insurance company yet. I mean, we could do this in a couple of days, no big deal. Or a day if we wanted to, or this could be spread out over months if insurance is taking forever and dragging their heels, or it's a massive storm and it's just taking them a really long time to kind of get through to this. So yeah, Melissa, hopefully that answers it for you. I don't know if I've got an average timeline. I'd have to check the data that we've got on it, but hopefully you can see there's a very, very specific intentional structure that we go through with all of this. Now, one of these things I would encourage you, get set up with Calendly. When you're talking about a tech stack and you're talking about something that can scale, and it was great. I just saw my good buddy Darren pipe up on here. Darren is the one that sold over 8 million. He might have been over 9 million actually. Is one of the ones with our company. He is unbelievable. He's actually been selling remote for us. And so he moved out to the West Coast of Canada a year and a half ago or so. And in his first year out there, he sold $5 million remote because we had this structure where we could have a scoper go and do inspections for him. Darren just keeps crushing sales as he goes through all of this stuff. So it's really, really impressive. And Melissa, I'm seeing your comment here, trying to see how many visits or days are needed. Insurance can take some time. You're 100% right on that. But again, your goal is going to be one visit. You want to get your process set up where when you go to the property to inspect it, that your inspection photos are there and you do the same inspection photos every time. So even if gutters aren't being replaced, at the top of the ladder, we put a metal swatch on that gutter and we confirm the color there just in case we upsell them on gutters later on, right? being able to peel back the siding and snip a little bit off where there's the overlap. We do that every single time. We put the siding swatch on every single time to get color. Like, yeah, we absolutely want to make sure we don't have to go. Anytime you have to go for second and third and fourth, like, it adds just piles of additional work, and you don't have time with them. You don't have time to do that when you're in a scenario like this. Josh, you should work to sign them while you're at the home. Absolutely. If you've got a contingency agreement, which we walked through before, get that signature there first, because there's an emotional commitment there. And if you can put a lawn sign in, even better. You've got this emotional commitment from them with that contingency agreement. And then for us, we're doing that final insurance contract with the Xactimate report stitched into it, 2 weeks later, or whenever we've got that approved Xactimate report. And actually, that's a great lead in, because the very next thing I was going to show you here was, this is the structure of how we do our insurance contracts. Okay, so this is going to be obviously built in SumoQuote. This is going to be once you have an Xactimate report. So now you know what is being covered. Okay, so you're probably going to revise your text slightly. So here you can see, because now we're basically getting their final signature, confirming colors, selling upgrades. And so you can be a bit presumptive a little bit more at this point, where you can say, as we're now preparing to begin repairs in your home, we want to remind you of next steps, right? You're going to be assigned a project manager, and you take them through the production order of things here. Okay. Now, because they've signed with you, now you're probably front loading this referral conversation. You want to get these referrals flowing through. And by the way, anybody that missed Jaden's Canva presentation earlier, this page right here, we've got this page pre-designed for you. You can drag and drop your logo into it. You can customize your colors instantly to it and tweak the copy or what your offering is in something like this. But we pre-build these pages for you as a part of SumoQuote. So in SumoQuote, it would just be going to your name in the top right-hand corner, clicking on the tutorials and support area, and then going to the custom PDFs, the custom Canva PDFs. That's where you're going to find this. But we will pre-build these for you. Same with this one, just because explaining to a homeowner is so critical, because you lose so much trust so fast with them if there's confusion in the process. So anything you can do to stay on top of them understanding the next step, and that, hey, this is exactly as we planned it out, exactly as I told you, we're hitting these steps just like I said, it gives them a massive amount of confidence in you and in your business. So here, I want to get back to this, right? We're using very similar language. You can use whatever language you want to. But again, now we're saying we're going to complete repairs in your property as laid out in your insurance estimate. And we've got their RCV in here. So the full cost of the job, including their deductible, including everything, because this is the contract value. So we've got this $19,851 in here as the overall contract value. Now, there's a couple of things we're going to do on the authorization page. And I know we've only got a couple minutes left here, so I'll try and be quick. We're going to sell them upgrades. Massive opportunity with upgrades here. So sell them upgrades. But within here, one of the things that we do as a company, you see that first line there, credit for not completing line items 16, 17, and 21, negative $3,178. Look, I know as a company, we will do everything, but we don't want to do the paint. We don't want to do the garage door. We get a little bit of O&P on it, but it's not worth it for the margins, and it holds up our receivables at the end of the job. We go through paying for all the materials and all of our labor and everything else, and then we get to where we just have these sub-trades left, and it just, from a receivables and a working cash flow perspective, it can just kill you. So this is a really interesting way to use SumoQuote to negotiate certain line items off of the contract that you don't want to do, and encourage them to use that money towards their deductible or towards upgrades, right? Look, I'm not going to waive your deductible, but I'll help you cover your deductible. I saw that you had that teenage son or daughter here. I know that we've got $1,300 worth of paint included in this project for you. And really, honestly, it's going to be like $80 worth of actual paint material. why don't you have them do it? And you can use that $1,200 for $1,300 towards some of these other things. Like, you can get into some very strategic ways of increasing not just your revenue with upgrades, but losing so many headaches in the production path on things. Okay, marketing page. This is a great one we designed with Owens Corning. You can put a visualizer or a link to a visualizer right in here, which is cool. Make it easy for them to pick their colors. We've designed this page for you. Again, it's in those Canva pages. And you'll see here, you see how my cursor kind of goes to this where I could click on this. There's a link embedded in it to actually take them to the duration site for Brownwood. So there's some really cool ways that you can set this stuff up. Terms and conditions, you might need some initials on things. You might need their signature on something else. But then here's the really good part. And then again, we built it this way from day one because of how we sell. There's a drag and drop feature in SumoQuote where you can automatically stitch in a copy of their approved Xactimate report. So when we go on this and you've got your RCV of $19,851, you remember on my quote details page where we said that we would do it as per the insurance scope of work, and we put in the $19,851 as the contract value. It matches it here. So now you've got a single document with your full scope of work, with all of your upgrades, with all of your signatures, with all of your color selections, with anything you want negotiated off, all in one beautiful, easy to understand document for a homeowner that makes you look amazing. So this is the exact structure of how we do all of our insurance contracts when we're signing. And again, Darren, glad to have him on the call here today, because Darren was one of those guys that has done tens of millions of dollars of insurance contracts like this over his career with Epic. So awesome. Okay, by the way, if you guys have any questions with any of that stuff, feel free to email us, and we can email you a copy of that if you want to sort of take a look at that as well. Again, just a reminder, if you're going to scale and be able to hit numbers like this, I think the main levers are you're looking to scale your leads and find out how you can focus on scaling that, scale your documentation, which we did with our metal installers, and then scale your sales and keep your experts like Darren, who we have on the call here, let them hyper focus on closing deals so that they can just excel on that and it will drive your business like crazy. I'm seeing a few comments here just on the retail side and templates and stuff like that. 100%, we can send you out this template for insurance, both the contingency agreement as well as the insurance contract, or we can send out our retail structure so you can see that as well. Everybody that is a SumoQuote user currently, you have a customer success manager assigned to you. They're basically like your personal concierge, and they can help you with anything that you need at SumoQuote. So if you email support@sumoquote.com, you can get an introduction to your customer success manager. They can help you set things up in SumoQuote. They can get you samples like this. They can get you anything you need to really help scale and grow your business. That's going to be the easiest way as you go through this. We are 1:46. I think I am 1 minute over, but I want to see if there's any additional questions here before you guys are able to jump into your next breakout session. Are there differences in your terms and conditions for insurance? Melissa, one of the things that we put in our terms and conditions, and it's specific for insurance, is we'll put in, let me see if I've got it here. Here, right? I understand that I must remove items from my interior walls. We've had where we were doing siding work in the past, and you're sort of hitting the exterior of the wall. Something is super loose inside and falls off. You don't want to be blamed for it. You know, siding tends to be more of an insurance thing for us. We don't do a lot of siding on the retail side of things. So there are specific things like this that you just might want to be ready for with it, right? I understand minor stucco damage may result when the roof is torn off. We've all seen it where when they have stucco, they don't put sort of that metal flashing in place at the bottom. They just run the stucco right down over top of the step flashing and basically right onto the roof. And then with water, it's all loose and flaky and it just breaks so easy. Even if you're not replacing the step flashing there, it just becomes a nightmare. It's stuff like this, Melissa, I think that's helpful, where you're trying to anticipate anything that the homeowners could potentially be upset about at the end of the job, and you're making sure it's addressed up front in here. So hopefully that's helpful. Robert, does it mean they check off each one? So it auto-populates their initials. Basically, how SumoQuote is set up is you can create a text page. What these are called for us is these are called tokens. So you're putting in a customer initial token, or you're putting in a customer signature token, or you could put in their name, their address, the salesperson's name. We've got tokens for all of that so that you can customize where you want it placed in here. When they're signing, they're going to have to check a box that says, I agree to have my initials / signature applied to terms and conditions page. And they have to check a box saying that they're agreeing to applying that here. So as soon as you have the initials token or the signature token turned on a page, SumoQuote will automatically recognize that and make it a requirement for the homeowner to apply that before they can sign their quote. They will not be able to sign the quote without checking that box. So yes, that is mandatory for them as they go through there. Jim, is there a way to put a hyperlink in to show them photos of what your terms and conditions are talking about? Jim, what you can do, you saw here how we've got a custom marketing page and we were able to embed hyperlinks behind the image. We also did it, I believe, on this page where the try it now, there's a hyperlink to take them straight to the Design IQ page there. So it's absolutely something. If you had a terms and conditions page, what you would do then is you would require the homeowner to acknowledge it, which would say where you can, rather than using a token, we would just apply their initials to the bottom of the page then because they're acknowledging the page. And you could put hyperlinks on there if you wanted to. So yes, it would take just a little bit of work and our team can help you with that. But yeah, and again, these are like, I love where Jim's head is going to here because what we're thinking about at the end of the day is customer experience. So these are really thoughtful, engaging customer experience things for us to do. So please keep thinking about that. Yeah, customer experience is the most important thing at the end of the day. Okay, we are well over time. Thank you so much, everybody. I really appreciate it. Stick around to the end. You're going to get a sneak peek at some new product stuff that we've got launching right away here. And feel free to reach out to our team that supported SumoQuote because we've got customer success managers just ready to help you out there. We want to see you guys crush out there. We want to see you have phenomenal years and grow and be profitable. And anyways, that is truly the heart of our team here. So please let us know how we can help. Yes. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. And yeah, very, very excited to hear about all your success in the new year. Thanks, Justin, Joe, Gene, Robert, everybody. Appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your day.